So willing to make it whoopee.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very fortunate today to be here in Detroit, and I'm doubly fortunate to be here with my dear friend, a person that I love very dearly. She's truly a great musician. I remember when I came to Detroit, I used to see a picture on the posters with the band she played with at that time, Gloucester Current's great band. At that particular time, she was already an accomplished musician, playing the saxophone, clarinet, flute, viola, had the knowledge of harmony and things about orchestration. I know this to be true because she started me out and helped me with my harmony in my early days. I was fortunate enough to later on play with the Gloucester Current's orchestra, which is the orchestra that she played with at that time. And after that, I watched her progress in music. She became better and better and an accomplished musician. It is too bad that at that time females, or shall we say girls, women, were not featured with too many of the bands, because she could have played in any band in the world at that time, including Duke Ellington, Jimmy Lunsford, you name it, she could have done it. I'm very happy to talk about her because her name was at that time Ellariz Thompson. It's Ellariz Thompson Lucas now, since she's her marriage name, and her whole family. I even want to say just a word about them. I even met the whole family, later lived with them. They really helped take care of me for many days and months, I should say. So it is with great pleasure that I'm here to introduce you to, as I said once again, a person that I love dearly, and she is truly a great artist, Miss Ellariz Lucas.
Well, Gloucester started his band in July 31. We had about 10 pieces. Well, before that we had a Wilderness neighborhood. I was playing viola, and we had a couple of violins and clarinet, trumpet, trombone, and the fellows decided to have a dance band. So the violin, the viola player, we got saxophones and, played saxophone, and we stayed together until 38.
That's quite some time.
Yes.
So what kind of music were you playing?
Dance music.
Dance music? And what was dance music?
Well, I mean, people dance, but well, I do.
Some of the songs. What was your book?
Oh, well, you could buy any arrangement. They call them stock arrangements. The whole orchestration for the band, and you could get it for 50 cents. And all the tunes will come out. Well, they don't have songs now, like Tenderly, All of Me, You Go to My Head, April in Paris, See, songs, they would write songs back in the 30s and even before. But now they don't have put out orchestrations like that. You have to have someone write them for you. So we played we start out playing at the Y on Saturdays, you know, for the kids. And on Sundays they'd have matinee for the teenagers. And then we would play for social affairs, different clubs, boat rides, picnics, everything.
So you were playing saxophone at the time?
Yes.
With this band. Were you developing, or you know what you were doing?
Well, yes, I was taking lessons all the time.
You work with other bands too?
Not then.
Not then? You didn't work in the clubs or the bars or anything?
Well, later.
Later.
Yeah, after Gloucester got a scholarship in 38 to West Virginia State. But most of the fellows was older, you know, some was married. So he got some fellows to go, you know, with the band, you know, organize another band. So I played with different groups and played the bars and whatnot. And then I played flute with the WPA Symphony Band from 39 to 41. We had about 40 pieces in the band.
This was a black symphony band?
Yes,
It was all black?
yes. They had they had the concert band and about 4 dance bands, I think.
So how did the WPA situation work for you? This was during the Depression.
Yes.
And, I mean, did you work regularly, have regular...
Oh, yes, we rehearsed every day, so many hours. I guess about 8 hours. We rehearsed at the YWCA, that was down on Elizabeth. And then we would go out and play for, you know, concerts at the park or at your church or something like that, in the schools.
This was classical music?
Yes, band music and classics too.
So was there a Detroit Symphony Orchestra at
Yes, they was on the WPA too. Things were so bad, everybody in Detroit was on the WPA just about.
So what happened with this particular band? It was disbanded after WPA?
Yes, well, I guess things was getting better, and they, you know, cut the WPA out.
So how did the Detroit Symphony Orchestra manage to keep going after that, and not the WPA and this other?
Oh, well, that's a different organization altogether. Maybe the whole symphony wasn't on the WPA, but they had a symphony orchestra. And so I guess they was going all the time.
So how did playing in a symphony affect you as a jazz musician?
I was playing all the time. I was playing flute. In the concert band, I was playing saxophone on the weekend, some of the little gigs.
Did it influence what you were doing on the weekends?
No.
It was totally different, huh?
Totally different. And I got a letter, one of the fellows in Cab Calloway's band, Brownie, a fellow named Brown, saw this old girls band and told the leader about me playing alto. So they wrote me a letter to come to Washington to join the band.
What band is this?
That was Sweethearts of Rhythm. So I joined them in August 1941, and I stayed with them till February 42. And a fellow named Eddie Durham, he'd played with the Jimmy Lunsford Orchestra also. He started another girls' band. And I stayed with them about a year, I think. Then I got married and I got out of the band. But I worked in a club in Washington after that. And then in 46, I went back with the Sweethearts. Stayed till 48.
So what was it like being in an all-women's band? What was the Sweethearts?
It was fun. Well, at first it wasn't, because they couldn't play. They were, just 15, 16. And they just left Piney Woods, Mississippi. That was a little school down there. So I've been playing. I was professional and everything. I didn't like it. But there was nothing happening here in the music business. So the lady, I told her she could give me, if she paid me $30 a week, I would stay. Well, that was good, because on the WPA we was making $41.40 every 2 weeks, and that was good money. You could put money in the bank and pay my car note. So it was all right.
You got 30 a week with the Sweethearts.
Yeah.
Was that more what other people were making then?
Well,
The girls in the band?
they wasn't making, just when they played, and they didn't make very much. Yeah, that was top.
So you went on the road with this band? Where'd you-
Yes. Well, they played all over, down south and around Washington. At that time, they didn't, well, they played Detroit, because I was with them. That was in 42. And as I told you, I got out in 42. And then I played in a club in Washington in 46. I rejoined them. And at this time, they had progressed to be a #1 band. And they played all over the country, and they'd been to, it was 7 months overseas after the war. So I stayed until 48.
So what was it like being in Europe?
I didn't go.
Oh, you didn't go.
I wasn't with them then. I joined them after they came back from overseas.
You enjoyed it a little more. Were you a little older than the rest of the
Yes,
band?
I was about 10 years older than the other girls.
So were you like one of the main soloists, or did they?
Well, I didn't do too much soloing. The tenor player, they featured her, a girl named Vi Burnside. I played first alto.
So were you seen as kind of different? I mean, for your time of being an all-girls band, I don't think there was that many women playing, period, of any kind of music.
Well, they had girls band because I had played with the girls band called the Harlem Playgirls in 1937. But they never, well, they played the Apollo too. That was the first time I played the Apollo, was with the Harlem Playgirls in 38.
Oh, so you were in New York before you had gotten this call to play with the Sweethearts.
Yeah, well, I stayed with them not too long, because I came back all the time. I was playing with Gloucester.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wrote and told him I was coming back. He had someone to, but we wasn't playing regular. We just play, dances for parties and whatnot.
Who were some of the other jazz musicians that came up with you around, that that were around town?
Detroit.
Yeah.
Hank Warren, he played in our band. Louis Barnett. Jake never played, but I knew all the musicians.
So after you left the Sweetheart, so you were married and you left the Sweetheart, did you play around town then?
Yes, I was in Washington.
Or you were in Washington?
Yeah. Then I moved back here in '48, and I didn't. Just had a few little gigs every now and then. Nothing steady.
Nothing steady. So how would you characterize the kind of music what you played? What was it related to?
Well, this jazz.
Yeah, I mean, but what style of jazz?
What do you mean style?
Well, bebop or
No, it wasn't bebop. Just plain jazz. Like your uncle play.
It's just standard.
Yeah.
Standard music. So, what was it like being in clubs? When you went when you were traveling with the Sweethearts and you go into theater, like what was it like being in it?
Oh, very nice. I enjoyed it. We played the Apollo in New York and the I can't think of the theater in Philadelphia, the Royal in Baltimore, the Howard in Washington, and the $1 Million Theater in L.A.
And but like when you went to a theater, when you went in to play, you'd be part of a show. There'd be
Yes, we'd have to rehearse the morning of the show about 8 o'clock. We'd have to rehearse the act's music. And we already had our numbers,
singers, dancers you played behind.
Yes.
Like what kind of dancing?
Well, they'd have tap dancing. And we worked with Jackie Moms Mabley. She played most of the theater dates. We'd have a theater date. She would, one the Paradise, I forgot that one. That's the one they played here. They was here quite often. I wasn't with the band then. But I did play a couple of, about 3 times. Paradise.
So did you meet any interesting people along the way?
Oh yes, I met all the big bands, and the personnel, because they would come to the Greystone when I was learning. I would talk to saxophone players, Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, Andy Kirk, Jimmy Lunceford. No Fletcher, Don Redman, Willie Bryant.
Did you ever get a chance to play with any of those bands?
Well, the only big band I played with was Lionel Hampton. I was living in Washington, and Arnett Cobb had to go to New York on some business. And I'd gone to the dance, my husband came by, and Milt Buckner was playing piano, and he asked Tolamp, I played alto, and he said, could I go to, went to Eastern Pennsylvania. So I told him yes. So when my husband came, well, they was leaving, the train left at 4 o'clock. So I went home and got my saxophone and my clothes and played for 3 days. Diana Washington was singing with her. Then she gave me one of her blouses to wear. I played the tenor book. I could, transpose it. I had a little way of transposing, So that was nice. I enjoyed it.
So how do you transpose from tenor to alto?
Well, certain fingers, and I would fingered like a clarinet in one register. You know, it'd be, well, it's a little hard to explain.
But you do have to transpose from one instrument to the other. Playing, you were reading the book and transposing as you played? That's pretty good. That must have impressed a few people.
No, well, they didn't know what was happening. Nobody but the band, and they didn't pay it any attention. But I played clarinet.
Okay, when you first started out playing, what kind of aspirations did you have?
Oh, I was going to Wingert, and they had a orchestra, elementary school, and I was very impressed. So I told my mother I wanted a violin for Christmas, so I could get in the orchestra. So I got the violin for Christmas, and at that time they would give you free lessons at Cass twice a week. And my two sisters would take me down Tuesdays and Thursdays, you know, for my lessons. And in April, I think, I was in the orchestra. I wasn't playing much, but I was there. The music was simple. And I continued with my violin through the years, all through elementary, because I was in the 5th grade when I started. And in high school, I was playing violin and taking lessons at Sophie Wright Settlement House. And my violin teacher wanted to start a quartet. So she told me they would buy a viola and she would give me free lessons. So I took the viola lessons and played the viola in high school. I played all city. All the kids from, well, those that wanted to of us could play in all city. So I played all city all during high school, playing viola. And we would give one concert a year at the Art Institute. We'd play heavy classics like William Tell, Tchaikovsky, and a lot of the classics. We'd rehearse the whole year.
At the Art Institute, there wasn't too many blacks at the Art Institute then.
Well, no, I said the orchestra, that's where we'd give the concerts.
Oh, I see. So when did you start getting interested in reeds?
And what?
In reeds?
Well, I was doing the reed all the time.
At the same time, too?
Yeah. I was in the 10th grade. Because my brother, you know, I told you I was playing with Gloucester.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother had a saxophone, but he wasn't doing anything with it. So I took it to school with me during my vacant hour, and I'd, you know, practice with the band. You know, other kids that wasn't doing anything, and I would play, and then I'd start taking lessons. Took lessons from Mr. Cooley. He was a well-known teacher then. Ted Buckner's father, adopted father. And then I took from another well-known teacher, Ellariz. So I always took lessons until I got so I could play pretty good.
So you wanted to become a star, or what did you hope to do with music?
Just play. Never star, I enjoy playing.
Uh-huh. You still enjoy classical music?
Yes.
Do you play anything now?
Well, yes, I think it was May, a fellow named Joe Thomas. He has a little group. We have 2 saxophones and 2 guitars and a bass. And we play down to Rosa Parks Center, and we played out to Belle Isle for the senior citizens. We just got a grant, 40 weeks, starting October. So it's nice.
What are you gonna do starting October? Playing different?
Well, no, well, yeah, we play for different things, I imagine, because they're all free concerts.
What kind of music are you playing?
We play jazz, same numbers, pop stuff,
Which numbers?
oh, anything. You know, you name it, we play it. Man, I love Body and Soul, A-Train. You name it, if we can't play it, then, but most of the tunes, you know, through the years, you know, you can.
What songs do you like personally?
Man, I love Body and Soul, April in Paris. I didn't know what time it was. I have a lot of favorites.
Who are some of the musicians or bands you've heard along the years that you enjoy?
I enjoy them all. Jimmy Lunceford, Duke Ellington. Those were my favorites.
Big bands.
And my favorite saxophone player is Benny Carter,
Why?
because he's the best. He used to play at the Greystone when he was young with McKinney Cotton Pickers. That was back in about 28, I think.
28.
And he's still playing. I think Benny's 82. Still sound good.
When you came along, was jazz already popular?
Yeah,
When you came along, was jazz already popular?
yes. Jazz been popular as long as I've been here.
What other kinds of music were popular when you were young?
What other kind?
Yeah.
Well, jazz and blues. I never cared too much for blues. But jazz been here before my time. Because Louis was playing jazz way back there in the early 20s.
So, I think that's it. Is there anything else you want to?
No, I think that's about it.
Do you have any advice for young musicians?
Just keep studying.